Welcome to Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark.
Get a millstone. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tends to balance in favor of fair use. Hey Jackie, good to see you too. Thanks for coming in, girl. Hi Chris, thanks for coming in, bro. I'm so proud of you. Trying to put your thing up here. So glad you got to come in. Thank you so much. This guy right here, Christopher Coakley, he was a pack leader. He went outside to vape. There were other parents and stuff around and everything, but maybe there need to be other people that was actually in charge. Appreciate you and love you, girl. Need to be other people in charge. Let them know. When my son was in Cub Scouts, there were so many people there. So many, like certain ages. It was broke down in gaps like that. So their leaders were there also, and so it made it easier when the whole group of people got together, because then these pack leaders were watching these certain ages. This was at certain ages, and such and such and such. But this is not what happened with this little boy. He was 5 years old and hurt by a 12-year-old. So let me go ahead and stop that banner. And I might put trigger warning here. So we need to be sure to speak up and speak out. Hey there, Carlene. Good to see you. Back over there so I see you. Good to see you, Carlene. Thanks for coming in. Family claims 5-year-old was beaten at Cub Scout meeting while pack leader was outside vaping. Here is the ambulance. The family claims the pack leader was outside vaping when the incident happened. This was in Bowling Green, Ohio. It happened in December 2025, December the 4th. So an Ohio family has filed a lawsuit against Scouting America after their 5-year-old son was allegedly beaten and suffered a broken leg during a Cub Scout meeting. Put in mind, DR was developmentally mentally challenged, okay? So I wondered if he had autism. Breanna and Christopher Russell So their son, identified in this report only as DR, was punched, knocked down, and stomped by an older Cub Scout during a PAC 422 meeting on December the 4th in Bowling Green, Ohio. The family says the PAC leader was outside vaping when the incident happened. They're seeking more than $25,000 in damages. Breanna Russell said the scouts were having an indoor snowball fight when the attack took place. It was makeshift snow, okay? It's not true snow. DR had reached for a snowball. He was leaning down. That's when the boy had punched him in the head, punched him in the stomach, knocked him over, and stomped on his leg. She said, I didn't see it happen. I was on the other side of the room, but I heard him yell. DR is the Russell's only child, so they always stay at the scout meetings. The 5-year-old was rushed to the emergency room. He suffered a serious fracture to his thigh bone in the incident, and he has undergone 2 surgeries. He was 5. The bully was 12. And the people known prior that 12-year-old has been already attacking him, even physically, prior to this incident. So what weren't people watching that older boy, right? Breanna and Christopher Russell said the 5-year-old son was punched, knocked down, and stomped by an older Cub Scout during a meeting. They filed a lawsuit alleging negligent supervision and emotional distress. DR is currently using a wheelchair and has been unable to return to school. He hasn't been back to school because we had to help him to the bathroom. We had to help him get on the toilet. The school is not adequately, I don't feel prepared for that, Christopher Russell said. That's the father. You notice that the guy's name is Christopher too, but the other one is Christopher Coakley. The one that the picture is being shown, that is Christopher Coakley, the PAC leader. The parents' lawsuit names Erie Shores Council Incorporated, the Boy Scouts of America, the PAC leader, and the minor accused in the attack. It alleges negligent supervision and emotional distress. Breanna Russell said she was told the PAC leader was outside at the time of the incident. The scoutmaster was outside, to my knowledge. I was told he was outside vaping with some other parents, he said. She said. The family's attorney, Chuck Boyk, said the organization failed to keep younger and older scouts separated. They're also supposed to keep the younger kids together with younger kids and the older kids with the older kids. They didn't do that correctly, he said. Boyk added the incident was not reported for several days. In this case, the Cub Scouts are mandatory reporters, which means you have to report a physical assault incident immediately. The Cub Scouts did not report it until 4 days later. That's only because our parents reported it to the Bowling Green police, he said. Bowling Green police said the investigation is complete and they were in touch with the juvenile prosecutor's office, which declined to pursue criminal charges. Police referred the incident to Job and Family Services. Do what? They refused? They declined to pursue criminal charges. Wow. You could also go after the parents. This boy has been bullying him and has been inflicting pain upon this young boy prior. Erie Shores Council provided the following statement, which reads in part: Council leadership has been in direct and ongoing communication with the family to check on the Scouts' condition and to offer assistance. We have worked closely with them to help guide the insurance process and ensure they had the information and support they needed. Well, information and support. No, get this boy taken care of where he knows that he can't be getting away with doing this. Y'all are still giving him leeway where he can. I'm sorry. I was working on my book earlier, so please forgive me, okay? I'm currently working on another book, okay? So boy 5 left hospitalized after brutal beating at Boy Scouts meeting, lawsuit says. A 5-year-old boy was sent to the hospital after he was beaten to a pulp during a Boy Scouts meeting that was left unsupervised after a pack leader stepped outside the bait. Okay, we heard all that, right? So let's go on down. During a Cub Scout meeting on December the 4th, a Jadale Leadership Center, Erie Shores Council in Toledo, Ohio, a 12-year-old boy named only as LC allegedly kicked DR in the stomach, ste- stepped on his leg, and punched him in the face. The lawsuit reviewed by the Daily Mail read. First, he hit him in the head while he was bending over, okay? So that's where the hit to the head. And he punched him in the stomach, okay? Kicked him in the stomach, sorry. Then he stepped on his leg, and I don't say stepped. You're supposed to say stomped. Stomped on his leg. There's a difference between stepped and stomped, okay? At the time, pack leader Christopher Coakley, 34, stepped outside the bait, leaving only 2 other registered leaders in the room to supervise the entirety of Pack 422, the filing read. After being viciously beaten up, DR was rushed to the emergency room by his mother, Breanna Russell. The violent incident was not reported by Coakley or Area Shores Council until 4 days after it happened, the lawsuit said. Doctors determined that the injured Cub Scout suffered a painful break in his thigh bone and an oblique fracture in his leg. The injuries were so severe that DR had to have emergency surgery so flexible titanium elastic nails could be placed into his femur to stabilize the fracture, the lawsuit stated. He then had to be placed in a hip cast, severely limiting his mobility and independence, it added. Here is a poor little boy, y'all. 5-year-old little boy. He did not deserve this. A 5-year-old boy, identified only as DR, was severely injured after he was allegedly beaten up by a 12-year-old boy during a Cub Scout meeting in Toledo. Because of his injuries, DR has had to miss school and needs assistance completing everyday tasks. He now faces a world of physical therapy appointments and having the rods in his legs for 6 months to a year, the lawsuit said. Breanna filed a police report with the Bowling Green Police Department on December the 10th in regard to the situation involving her son, the filing stated. She told WTOL Channel 11 that she and other parents were in the room at the time of the alleged attack, but no one said they saw it took place. Everyone claims they didn't see anything. Christopher Russell, the boy's father, told the outlet. After the alleged assault on her son, Breanna said she knew something was wrong as soon as she heard him shriek. When he was yelling like that, we just knew something was so wrong. He was so hurt, she recalled. His distraught mom added, I heard him yell for the first time. That is a sound that I would never, never forget as a mother. Because I took my eyes off for a split second, he was laughing, having fun. That's Coakley right there. During the alleged brawl, pack leader Christopher Coakley, pictured, stepped outside the bait, leaving very little supervision of the children, Lawson said. After being viciously beaten up, DR was rushed to the emergency room by his mother, Breanna Russell. The child's parents, Breanna and Christopher Russell, pictured here, hope that their son will one day find passion in scouting again. The Russells said the kids were not separated by age groups when the alleged brawl broke out. Oh, I guess it's not showing that page right now, so hold on a minute. Yeah, it is very short. Hey, David, good to see you. Thank you, Jackie. Hi, David. So I'm sorry that it did not even bring up that picture, so let me get the boil up hospitalized. There we go. So the Russells, here's their picture right here. The parents, this is Christopher and Breanna Russell. Here's him being taken by ambulance. Here is Coakley right here, Christopher Coakley. And this is the center right here, the Judeo Leadership Center and Airy Shores Council. Here's a little boy. I'm glad they put out, blocked out a space for privacy. Y'all pray for that little boy, please. I ask y'all. So we go on up there. So the Russells said the kids were not separated by age groups when the alleged brawl broke out because of the number of parents who were there. Okay, it was not really like a brawl. It's like one on, he was the only one fighting. That other boy was. That 5-year-old took it. Cub Scouts are typically separated into smaller dens depending on their age group. Children aged 7 to 10 are able to join Cub Scouts. Anyone over that age can join the Boy Scouts, according to Scouting America. Breanna said everything changed after Coakley stepped outside the bait. The order changed when he stepped out because he was really good at keeping order for children, she explained. Following the lawsuit, the Scouting America Erie Shores Council said, "We want to express our sincere concern and sympathy for the Cub Scout and his family. The safety and well-being of every young person in our programs is our highest priority. Council leadership has been in direct and ongoing communication with the family to check on the Scout's condition and to offer assistance." And why are y'all still allowing that older boy who's been physically beating him up prior to this? Luckily, he's not dead. Luckily, this little boy is not dead. We have worked closely with them to help guide the insurance process and ensure they had the information and support they needed. But if you would have done their job and not let somebody violent be in there in the first place, knowing that boy's prone to going over there and hurting him. The organization continued because this matter is now in litigation. We are limited in what we can share publicly. However, we remained focused on supporting the youth involved, their family, and our volunteers. We work every day to provide a safe and positive scouting experience for all participants. Well, you didn't, it wasn't that day though, was it? That poor little boy. You didn't deserve it. You did not deserve it. Because of his injuries, the little boy has missed school and has to get around with a cast on his hip. The injuries were so severe that DR had to have emergency surgery so flexible titanium elastic nails could be placed into his femur to stabilize his fracture. There's a picture of the nails in them, like that. Yes. DR's family has demanded a jury trial and $25,000 in damages. His parents hope that their son will one day find passion in scouting again. He's very energetic, happy little guy who was so proud to be part of the Cub Scouts, she said. The Daily Mail contacted Coakley and the Scouting America Erie Shores Council for comment. So let's get past that one over here. So and see if there's going to be more on this. I like finding out more information. Okay, hide that. Let me, hello everyone here. I hate how it keeps changing around to the, so let's see. Sometimes I like going to a lot of different sites so that we can find out more information. So here is where the little boy was sent to the hospital after his beaten. They're saying to a pulp during a Boy Scouts meeting that was left unsupervised after a pack leader stepped outside to bait, according to a new lawsuit. Well, there were other parents there, but there were the leaders that should have kept everyone separated, by the ages too. The little boy, only identified as DR in the legal filing, once enjoyed his time as a Cub Scout in Ohio, but after the alleged incidents, all that changed. Court documents filed by his parents detailed. The Journey Cub Scout meeting on December the 4th, we'll go over that again. And that's at Judeo Leadership Center and Erie Shores Council in Toledo, Ohio. If y'all know that place, I don't think I will want my kids to go there. A 12-year-old boy named only as LC allegedly kicked DR in the stomach, stepped on his leg, and punched him in the face. The lawsuit, reviewed by the Daily Mail, read. I don't think it's allegedly anymore. At the time, PAC leader Christopher Coakley, 34, stepped outside to vape, leaving only two other registered leaders in the room to supervise the entirety of PAC 422, the filing read. After being viciously beaten up, DR was rushed to the emergency room by his mother, Breanna Russell. The violent incident was not reported by Coakley or Erie Shores Council until 4 days after it happened, the lawsuit said. Doctors determined that the injured Cub Scout suffered a painful break in his thigh bone and an oblique fracture in his leg, as it says, right? So after he had that procedure with a surgery with the flexible titanium elastic nails, then he also had to be placed in a hip cast that severely limited his mobility and independence. This is what we're talking about, bullying. So call it for what it is, bullying. And the police refused to get prosecute, or that they refused to do anything about it. They're not going to seek any. Because of his injuries, DR had to miss school and needs assistance completing everyday tasks, as we said. See if there's something more down here. Let's see. Talking about how he was yelling, and she never heard him yell before. So it makes me think he must be autistic because we know he is developmentally. So I don't know whether this will be able to be heard or not. Yeah, so let me check on that in a few seconds. Hold on. Got. I need to go to my YouTube right quick. Just skip it right here.
DR was sweating, yelling, crying.
We aren't releasing the name of the kindergarten student. We'll refer to him as DR. These photos paint a disturbing picture of what happened inside a PAC 422 meeting on December 4th. The little boy suffered a serious fracture to his thigh bone.
The scoutmaster was outside, to my knowledge. I was told that he was outside vaping with some other parents.
Breanna and Christopher Russell say their 5-year-old son was beat up and stumped by an older Cub Scout. She says it happened when the kids were having an indoor snowball fight.
DR had reached for a snowball. He was leaning down. That's when that boy had punched him in the head, punched him in the stomach, knocked him over, and stomped on his leg. I did not see it happen. I was on the other side of the room, but I heard his yell.
DR is their only child, so they always stay at the scout meetings. The little boy was rushed to the emergency room. He's undergone 2 surgeries, can't attend school, and is in a wheelchair.
He hasn't been back to school because we have to help him to the restroom. We have to help him get on the toilet. The school's not adequately, I don't feel prepared for that.
The lawsuit names Erie Shores Council Incorporated, the Boy Scouts of America, the PAC leader, and the minor accused in the attack. It alleges negligent supervision and emotional distress.
They're also supposed to keep the kids, the younger kids, together with younger kids, and the older kids with the older kids. They didn't do that correctly.
Attorney Chuck Boyk says the incident was not reported for days.
In this case, the Cub Scouts are mandatory reporters, which means you have to report a physical assault incident immediately. The Cub Scouts did not report it until 4 days later, and that's only because our parents reported it to the Bowling Green Police.
Erie Shores Council sent 13 Action News this statement. In part, it reads, Council leadership has been in direct and ongoing communication with the family to check in on the Scouts' condition and to offer assistance. We have worked closely with them to help guide the insurance process and ensure they had the information and support they needed.
That's really disturbing, isn't it, y'all? Yeah. So I'll show y'all some more information here on the Cub Scouts. First, I had asked it, basically about the Cub Scout ages. The Cub Scout in America is a program for children in kindergarten through the fifth grade, typically ages 5 to 10. Excuse me. Focused on character development, citizenship, and outdoor activities. It is open to boys and girls with activities organized into dens by grade level. Lion is kindergarten, tiger first, wolf is second, bear is third, Wibelows fourth, and arrow of light fifth. Children must be in K through 5 or roughly ages 5 through 10. So stop sharing that, then I'll go over here to this other page and share. Okay. Yes, it is. Very sickening. So it says Cub Scouts who join a pack are assigned to dens with ideally 6 to 8 members, usually based on age. Lion Scouts, kindergarten, Tiger Scouts, first grade, Wolf Scouts, second grade, Bear Scouts, third grade, Webelow Scouts, fourth grade, and Arrow Light Scouts, fifth grade. Dens meet weekly or bi weekly under the direction of the adult den leader. A Cub Scout is elected to the dinner position to provide basic leadership to the den. Like when we went to the Cub Scout meetings, and there were Boy Scouts or different things around, but okay, whoever was over in charge of the Lion Scouts, okay, their people were there too to oversee those kids, same as the ones that were Tiger Scouts. The adults that was in charge of that was usually there at the meeting as well. Per se, the Wolf Scouts too, Bear Scouts. Where were all these adults that usually should been there during one of these meetings to make sure everyone was going to be all right? And why was this boy when they said that they're basically in there about relationship, leadership, recruitment, about leadership, teaching kids how to get along basically as well? So why are they allowed somebody being there who's been viciously attacking that boy? And why are they not doing something at least to the boy's parents who did this assault? Because I believe they're liable and responsible for that little boy's actions. Webelos is an acronym meaning we'll be loyal scouts, according to Bear Cub Scout book in 1954. The name originally came from the initial letters of Wolf, Bear, Lion, Scout. So there is uh, AOL dens spend much of their time learning about Scout customs, including the Scout law and oath. Many packs are formally associated with a Scout troop for mutual support. The troop provides assistance to the pack with activities such as campouts and ceremonies, and in time, the AOL Scouts cross over to the troop. We know there's a lot of lawsuits that's going on too with Boy Scouts because the Boy Scouts is responsible for some sexual assaults. I got a friend who's in a lawsuit with them now. They have went ahead and paid some of what they owe him, and now they put a stymie right there. I guess more come forward. There's got to be more division or something like that. So with the money, with the proceeds. My oldest son was in Cub Scouts. That reminds me of how his outfit was. So it's like when I go like, sorry, Cub Scouts reworked all the ranks to harmonize and simplify the adventure system. Each rank now has 6 required adventures and requires the additional completion of 2 elective adventures. Lion and Arrow Light has 16 elective adventures to choose from. Tiger, Wolf, Bear, and Webelos all had 20. Bobcat is no longer a rank that is earned when a Cub Scout first joins, but rather is the first required adventure that should be completed as part of each rank. It goes on and goes on. So, so what's y'all's take on all this? Do y'all think the boys' parents should be sued too? What do you ask? I try to keep it not um, whether it's Democrat or Republican, but yes, I am. I appreciate everyone. I think it's very important that we speak up for our kids. So please pray. Yeah, I think they need to sue them too. They need to pay for the injuries. That boy is going to have possibly. I took down the full task of notes earlier, and I'll read what I had written earlier. Okay. Family in Bowling Green, Ohio, is taking legal action against Scouting America and others following an attack on their young son during a scout gathering last December. The incident left the 5-year-old with a broken thigh bone that needed surgical repairs. When did it happen? December the 4th, 2025. Where did it happen? At a packed meeting held at First Christian Church. That's what they had said first, but now we see that it was at the Judeo, right? The pack leader stepped outside the bait, leaving the children unattended without direct supervision, according to the lawsuit. The Order Scout had a record of bothering DR, which they're going by. They're not going to give the boy's real name, which that's the right thing to do, including other physical incidences. Like I said, this 12-year-old's been harming this boy prior. Leaders had supposedly told the 12-year-old to stop this behavior previously, right? So that's why I'm saying, why was he allowed to continue coming in there when they know how violent he is towards others, right? So an indoor activity using fake snowballs when the 12-year-old um, allegedly struck the 5-year-old in the head while DR was bending down. Then the older bully kicked DR in the stomach, knocked him to the ground, and stomped on his thigh, which caused the fracture. DR is developmentally disabled. He was rushed to the hospital where doctors diagnosed an oblique fracture in his thigh bone. He underwent emergency surgery the next day to insert titanium nails for support, followed by a second procedure. Now in a wheelchair and dealing with limited movement from a thigh cast. The boy has missed school and faces potential long-term physical and emotional effects, the lawsuit states. Yeah, he's going to have a lot of emotional and a lot of, he's going to have to go through therapy and everything as well. Breanna Russell, DR's mother, recalled hearing her son's cries from across the room, something unusual for the typically cheerful kid who enjoyed scouts. She and her husband Christopher stayed at meetings as their only child participated. He was leaning down to grab a snowball when the punch came, and then the kick, and then the stomp. So I took that with the notes earlier. Well, thank you all for coming. I wanted to get that all out there, and I'm glad I took the other notes because when I was reading this other information, some of the stuff did not say that about the developmentally disabled and about the fact about we already know that he's going to need more mental support, emotional. He's going to need physical support. He's going to have to not. It's going to be hard to be teaching him doing the school things when he's sitting there in a lot of pain too. I can imagine so, right? The parents already got a battle with him being developmentally disabled, but he seems like he's a good kid. This kid did not deserve anything like this. That was a true bully, 12-year-old, picking on a 5-year-old, beating a 5-year-old, and just kept saying, well, you don't need to be doing that. Don't be doing that. But you're still allowing him around him. Other people who knew and knew that boy did that kind of stuff, they're kind of like, I blame them as well. Because as you saw him going over there towards that person, boy, and you did nothing. Oh, well. So it's not a good situation. Thank you, everybody, and God bless. And remember to pray for this little boy and pray for the parents. And I believe that they deserve more than $25,000. I believe that they need to do something with that 12-year-old. Yeah, he might need to go into juvenile detention. How else is he going to learn, right? He's got to learn the repercussions of his actions. Thank you so much, everyone, and God bless you.